the end goal is to be the guy on the field playing the football games.
I learned a lot from the vets in the room. I see Joe do something, and I'm like, all right, bro, I'm going to try that.
I'd like to keep everybody, but not realistic.
The Browns offense has changed drastically in 2 weeks. Joe Flacco will be starting week 1 for the Cleveland Browns versus the Bengals. And got to be honest with you, I don't want to say I told you so because everybody, I think, saw this coming, right? Joe Flacco, not just somebody who understands Kevin Stefanski's offense very well and operates in it, like it's just nothing to him. The Delaware legend, January Joe, if you will, Super Bowl champion, definitely has the leadership role mapped out. He's got the veteran, he's got the familiarity, and Kenny Pickett hasn't even played real football in like half a month or what, a quarter of a month. So Joe Flacco, easily the guy in charge. And hey, as a guy that I'm a Shedeur guy, but I want him to just make the team and sit behind Joe because he's talked a lot about the great things that Joe Flacco has provided, right? And looking at his stats in the camp, and obviously people say it doesn't matter, but here are what his camp stats look like. He is 91 for 151. He does have 6 touchdowns. He does have some of the lowest amount of reps when you consider what's it called? That he's going to be the presumed first. And, Kenny Pickett was on the road to have a lot of reps, but he got hurt and completely stopped. Right. So, he did what he did. If you watching each week, he just never missed any reps, unlike, Sanders, who had limited and sometimes Pickett, who was limited with injuries. Gabriel was limited with injuries and situational stuff like that. So it makes sense. Last 17 starts, just putting it out there. Joe Flacco, 4,755 yards, 32 touchdowns. Patty Mahomes, 4,165 yards, 28 touchdowns. Now, I'm not sure if the supporting weapons, coaching staff, and defense are to the same caliber, even though that Browns defense looks scary. It looks real scary. This is something interesting to point out because every time I bring up Joe Flacco, we're like, but he lost. Last time we saw him, he was lost, all this other stuff, yada, yada, yada. But, Joe Flacco at least did what he needed to do the way he needed to get it done. So I think that he's not a spring chicken, but for my immediate reaction, I'll let y'all read these comments because I don't think I'm going to read them. Wait, this is the funniest though. Shout out to FanDuel. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. I'll let y'all read these. After that, we're going to get into some Joe Flacco stuff. My instant reaction is like, I've been saying this. I think it makes the most sense as long as Shedeur Sanders gets a place on that team, and I don't understand why he shouldn't have it. Get Kenny Pickett out of here. Like I'm tired of Kenny Pickett. I never liked Kenny Pickett. I liked him coming out of Pitt, but then when he showed us what it was, it is what it is. Hey, let's just skedaddle. Let's get it down to 3, 2 young guys, and let's keep Joe Flacco. Let him do it. If something bad happens, hey, Gabriel or Shedeur, y'all get to go, right? And that would make sense because y'all got 2 first-round picks next season. Let's go ahead. Let's go full experiment mode. Send Kenny Pickett off to L.A. I don't know. Tell him to go kick rocks, okay? Hope y'all read these. Hope everything was good. But we are going to be yet to see what the official depth chart is, but we know Joe Flacco is the guy. And again, I like Joe Flacco. I grew up watching Joe Flacco, January Joe, winning Super Bowls, doing what he does. I do want to point out that a lot of people were theorizing, when Shedeur was going crazy, they said Joe Flacco was cheesing like he knew his job was up or something. I don't know. Here's what he actually said August 6th about acknowledging how much he wants to play.
That's why we play the game, right? We play to play. That's what gets us all going. You do gain perspective, and when you go take that, just like I was talking about Tyler, like when you're out in the grass in practice, you can remind yourself, wow, this is like cool that we're out here. But the end goal is to be the guy on the field playing the football games. That's why we all do it. That's as simple as it gets.
And this is something that we really, that's been the common sentiment early on. I remember when it was like OTAs and they were asking Joe Flacco about it, and, the mentorship role. And he said, look, hey, I'm not, going to be mean to these guys or anything. But at the same time, I want to be the starter. Like, I'm not just here to collect the check, right? He's been adamant about that and saying that I'm a competitor. I'm a Super Bowl champion. I've led multiple teams. I'm not just going to sit down as a Delaware legend right? And just let y'all just bring in a young, fresh chicken. Nah, it ain't like that. And he came in and he was handled like a vet. He handled it like a vet, and he was really getting after it to a high level. So I love to see that, clearly Joe Flacco, although pictures may be deceiving, he was not locked out. Now, we are going to get into a little bit of bag work and check out Joe Flacco, what he's been doing in camp with his reps. Now, I do want to listen to a few things. I want to listen to this situation with Shedeur and Joe Flacco, and Shedeur opens up about, what it's meant to learn from Joe Flacco. But I also want to, what do you think from this, right? This is one of the last things. Kevin Stefanski is going to talk tomorrow. That's going to be Tuesday as I record this on Monday. He's going to address the media tomorrow, probably have some more in-depth things about the roster. But as of now, this is what he had to say after the last preseason game.
Yeah, I think we'll let it play out as we get closer to the cut down. Those are all conversations that we are always having, but those are tough decisions. I'd like to keep everybody, but not realistic.
He'd like to keep everybody, but it's not realistic. He's allowing the quarterback position to play out. And I think a lot of people immediately think, hey, Shedeur and Kenny Pickett are gone. They're gone. They're gone. That confuses me. I don't know why. Like, if Kenny Pickett was healthy, we had a different conversation. Like, dang, Shedeur actually might not make it. But Kenny Pickett hasn't practiced in multiple weeks. And the last we saw of him in the NFL was throwing himself into a sack. So I'm hard pressed to believe that they're either going to just keep all four, or they're not going to keep all four, or specifically deal or cut Kenny Pickett. He can't even stay healthy. Am I tripping? Am I out of line to think that Shedeur gets the opportunity? He shows up and does it. And I know Shedeur was also unhealthy, right? For, a little bit. He had a soreness, took him out a second. And then he had the oblique that apparently is going to take him out just a few days, right? So I don't think that's the same thing. But hey, maybe that's the way the Browns say it. Maybe the Browns see Shedeur being hurt as a fifth rounder as, that was the last opportunity and he's gone. I don't know how you can say that, especially with Dylan Gabriel throwing pick sixes and messing up exchanges, right? They both look like rookies and they both look great in certain aspects, right? But hey, that's just my dude. I'm just a dude named Larry. I don't know. My name's not Larry, by the way. I do know a dude named Larry. Shout out to Larry. He's a cool guy. But, that's just my opinion, so it doesn't matter. Don't think so. What does matter is Shedeur's opinion on Joe Flacco. This is how he's felt learning from him.
I learned a lot from the vets in the room. I see Joe do something, and I'm like, all right, bro, I'm going to try that. And then I do it, and I see it on film, and it's cool because I'm like, hey, bro, I did this because I seen you do it, bro. Then he'll be smiling and stuff like he's a proud dad. So it'd be funny. It's fun whenever I'm able to take things that each guy, does differently and put it on my own way and be able to, pay homage to them and show respect.
So that's great to hear. That's great to hear from Shedeur. Great to hear that, although Joe Flacco, wasn't coming out intentionally trying to be a quote unquote mentor, there's plenty to learn from. There's plenty to absorb from. If you're somebody who, can learn and observe and do those things, a Super Bowl winning quarterback who has led and been through so many situations, I think it's a great model just to look at the mannerism, look how he operates, look how he does those small things. So great to see Shedeur take that mantle on, but even better to see Joe Flacco still that role model, man. He's still doing big things. So as we say that, let's get into a little bag work and then we're going to wrap up the video here. I believe this is from the August 6th week, so obviously they don't have pads on. They're in and out of pads. Just want to see Joe Flacco move around the ball. The thing that has stood out to me the most about Joe Flacco is that zip has gone away. I don't know how many of y'all watch basketball, but there's a saying. I do a lot of cross sport references. There's a big thing. Is that Doward Jones playing right? That's awesome. He's playing right in. But sorry, the basketball reference is, if you're a shooter, you can just sit in the corner and shoot the ball. Robert Livingston, right? Ray Allen, right? You're going to have a very, very long, fruitful career because shooting the ball is something that, you don't have to be as, top tier athletic. So even as you age and different things like that, you can learn or not learn, but you can continue being a, spot up shooter every time. 40 years old, every time, right there in the corner, right? And I think we're seeing that with Joe Flacco. Obviously, he's a big son of a gun, right? He's about 6'5", big Delaware boy. I don't think he's actually from Delaware. But big, bad, big boy, big dog, right? And that allows him to obviously, throughout his days, generate a lot of power. Here he is moving And, you know, for all the dots that we've seen shown, you know, whether it's Shedeur or even Dylan Gabriel, because he had a few good balls. You know, even this weekend, he had a nice big crosser here. You see that there's an effortlessness with Joe, right? He's going to step up in the pocket, 1, 2, and it's just transfers his weight. Obviously, he's a very traditional style of thrower. You know, if we can watch his mechanics here now that we can see it, right? He steps up, 1, 2. Now, I did hear some people, some real good QB people tell me that apparently the whole toe pointing at the target is wrong. Apparently that's wrong. But I was taught that. I didn't know I was that old, but apparently that's some old thing. So I want to say, if I ever say that, that's wrong. But I will say the toe's pointed. The chest is open. It's wide. And look at where he, you know what I'm saying? The elbow comes from being dropped low. And let's see where he pulls this. Yeah, he pulls this low. He pulls this low, but gets that elbow up, gets the chest high, throws over the top. And that's a big reason why you can base, or Shedeur can get so much. And you see that at the end, that Aaron Rodgers-y, Brett Favre, he is a fossil, man. In a great, like, if I was a kid seeing a Tyrannosaurus Rex, like, this is awesome. Like, not like you're old, but like, this is remarkable. When you have the world of side arming and all this stuff, to see somebody who just right over the top, old school, weight transfer, zoom that, flick it, you know what I'm saying? And he throws an absolute beam. So that's what you're going to get from Joe Flacco. He's tall, he's big, he's going to be able to get the ball out there in some places. Now, obviously, he is a little older, right? So, you know, we are going to have to question if it's going to be all good as Joe Flacco sets up here, lays that ball out, and Greg Newsome just about drops it. So, you know, I don't think anybody doubts his power, his velocity, but maybe his placement is where the rubber is going to start meeting the road, and some of these young guys might just find a way to waggle and get an opportunity. But as it stands right now, shout out to Joe Flacco for being the #1 QB down there in Browns. And then, you know, also just to let you know, Isaiah Bond is officially signed. I know we talked about the signing a few days, but the Browns were doing some due diligence, so they've conducted their research. The NFL has conducted their research. Like we talked about, I do want to point this out, not just because I'm a Texas fan, but because I am a believe victims person. So in the same regard, I want to be a full context, innocent until proven guilty person. I think we can do both of those at the same time. And I want it to be known that Isaiah Bond has filed a countersuit against the young individual who happened to, put these disparaging allegations, because that's what I'm going to call them, because it ain't, the charges are dropped. It's good. The NFL is conducted. The Browns put out a statement they've conducted. So welcome to a new, the Browns offense has changed drastically in 2 weeks. You get Quinshon Judkins back, apparently, even though he hasn't officially signed. Isaiah has officially signed, so we'll see what happens with Quinshon. Maybe there's still a hold up with the guaranteed money. We'll see what happens there. But you immediately get another wide receiver, a young wide receiver that's supposed to be a second or third round guy, in a wide receiver room that's desperately needing some wide receiver help. God, how many times am I going to say wide receiver? So that's great to see. Y'all let me know how y'all feel down below in the comments. I know we want Shedeur to be the starter, but eventually, I think let's wait it out. Let the Browns get used to it, and then it's going to be the perfect time when it's Shedeur time. All right, y'all be great. Y'all be phenomenal. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't. Subscribe if you like football content of all shapes, sizes, forms, and fashions. You be phenomenal. If you watch this far, you're the greatest of the greats that are great, because all my audience is great. You be amazing. We'll see you next time. Peace.